Today, we're going to dive into a really profound idea about our social lives. The performances we all put on, the masks we wear, and what happens in that explosive yet quiet moment when someone finally dares to take theirs off. It all kicks off with this single word. It's like a quiet invitation, asking us to just lean in for a second and hear a truth that, let's be honest, most of us spend our whole lives trying to ignore. Okay, first up, we need to get our heads around the world this text is describing. It's a world built almost entirely on illusion, on performance. So the big question is, how does a system like this actually keep itself going? Well, at its heart, this is a system. And just like any system, it's got a survival mechanism. But it's not based on force or anything like that. It's really just a shared, unspoken agreement that we all kind of buy into. The way it works is through persuasion. It's this deep cultural conditioning that makes sure we all play our part, a lot of times without even realizing we're performing in the first place. And this right here, this is the core deception. The whole system only holds up if the performance gets mistaken for what's real, if everyone believes the costume is actually the skin. So what is this mask, really? It's not just some decoration we put on. For a lot of people, it feels essential, like oxygen. It's a survival strategy, and it's held together by two things: the fear of what might happen if we ever took it off, and the simple, unconscious habit of putting it on every single morning. But what happens when that fear just fades away for one person? Well, that brings us to the real turning point, this deeply personal, quiet moment where the entire illusion just shatters. The big revelation isn't some crazy lightning strike from the sky. It's this quiet, almost stunning discovery that the mask you thought you needed to survive, well, you just don't. You can actually take it off, and the world doesn't end. You can still breathe. And after you have that realization, everything changes. The identities that felt so permanent, so you, are suddenly revealed for what they really are. They're just roles we were playing, scripts we were handed, costumes we decided to wear. Now, this is where things get tricky. This is where the personal suddenly becomes political. Because your freedom, it isn't just about you. Your unmasked phase has a huge and often pretty dangerous effect on everyone who's still wearing theirs. Yeah, that effect is seen as a danger. The authentic person becomes a threat. And not because of what they do, but because of what they reveal. They basically become a living, breathing mirror. I mean, think about it. When you see someone just living without a mask, it reflects your own performance right back at you. It forces you to look at the act you're still committed to and all the parts of yourself you've had to hide away to keep it up. And seeing that, it can be deeply, deeply uncomfortable. So this is the absolute crucial point. The hostility that gets aimed at authentic people isn't really about them being different. It's about their authenticity shining a light on the pretending in others. It's this gut reaction to having the collective illusion pointed out. And that discomfort, when it mixes with fear, can curdle into something much, much darker. This brings us to the most challenging part of this whole idea: how this threat to the illusion shows up in the real world, as what the source calls the theater of hate. This slide just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? On the surface, the accusations are always about danger, or being wrong, or breaking the rules. But underneath all that, the real unspoken fear is, your authenticity just showed me my own mask, and I can't afford to see that right now. This line just cuts right to the heart of it all. The conflict isn't about the little details of someone's identity. It's about the threat of exposure. The fear that the whole performance-based world will just collapse if too many people stop pretending. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The text connects this idea to some painful, devastating realities. It argues that things like homophobia, transphobia, and other violent forms of hate are really just the desperate reactions of a system trying to protect its illusions from people who prove that another way of living is even possible. And this is the ultimate threat, isn't it? An unmasked person doesn't just break the rules. They reveal that the rigid social rules we all live by aren't laws of nature at all. They're just stage directions. And for someone whose entire sense of self is built on those rules being real, that is a terrifying, terrifying thought. But hey, the text doesn't just leave us in despair. The final part actually builds toward a solution. It's this idea of a quiet revolution that doesn't need to fight, but just a safe space to be real. So what happens when you get a bunch of unmasked people in a room together? A really powerful chain reaction starts. See, without the need to perform, the shame that keeps us in line, it just loses its teeth. The fear that keeps the masks on becomes pointless. And those rigid identities we defend so fiercely, they suddenly don't seem so important anymore. What's so amazing is how this change happens. It's not some dramatic overthrow of the system. The entire illusion just dissolves. It quietly loses its power, all because one person, and then another, had the courage to just be themselves. And that leaves us with this final question to chew on. It's asking us to weigh the comfort of our performance against the freedom of our own truth. It suggests that real liberation isn't about perfecting our mask, but about having the courage to finally let it go. Because the identity we defend so hard might just be our prison, while the truth we carry inside, that might just be the key.